What's up, everybody? This is episode 2 of the Fat Loss Files, where I will tell you the most effective way on how you can, or the most optimal way to lose belly fat. Right? Yesterday we had episode 1. Today is episode 2. I'm going to commit to giving at least 5 episodes a week. Right? We're also going live on Instagram and TikTok. And if you guys want to watch these episodes on replay, you can watch them on replay on Facebook. So if you're on TikTok or you're on Instagram and you want actual access to every single episode, because there's actually an in-depth training. So like on Instagram and TikTok, right? They only see me, right? But on Facebook, I actually have created a whole slideshow, right? And I've actually created a whole presentation, right? So if you actually want to see the presentation, right, and you actually want to watch this on replay, so like if you want to refer back to it later, right, then hit me up in the DM on Instagram or TikTok and say, hey man, like, how can I get, just DM me replays, and you can add me as a friend on Facebook, and you can just add me and just watch it on Facebook every single day. Okay. So with that being said, let's dive into it. Okay. So what's the most optimal way to lose the belly? Right. Okay. So now you're probably on the journey, right? You're probably on your journey and you're unsure of how things work, right? So when you guys are on your fat loss, when you guys are in your fitness, in your fitness journey, on your fitness journey, correct? Right? You have one of two ways that you can take your fitness journey. One of two ways, right? Actually, one of three, but we're not going to talk about the third way because that's just maintaining. You have one of two ways, which is a cut or a bulk. Now, that's just another way of saying one is a fat loss phase and one is a muscle building phase, right? You can either do one or the both. One or the other. Okay. So you're probably, unsure of how things work. So you're probably have the gut right now, and you're probably telling yourself things like, I want to bulk up my chest. I want to build some muscle. I want to do this. I want to do that. And that's all cool and all, or I want to put on more mass, right? I'm going to say this right now. If you have belly fat, you have more than enough mass on you, okay? I'm not going to lie. You don't need any more mass, okay? So you just need to focus on losing the fat. That the excess mass is what got you here, okay? Our goal is to get that mass off of you, okay? But with that being said, understand that you will either be in a cutting phase or bulking phase in your fitness journey, whether it's intentional or not. Now, so like a lot of people will be like, oh yeah, well, I don't have to, I wasn't in a cut or a bulk and look, I gained 20 pounds of muscle. Just because you weren't intentionally in a bulking phase, and like just because you didn't say I'm going to bulk doesn't mean that you didn't bulk. Just because you said that, just because you didn't say that just because you didn't intentionally be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna lose the fat today, or I'm gonna lose fat, doesn't mean that you didn't lose fat. Right? Doesn't mean you didn't lose fat. Okay? So understand that you're either in one or the other. Okay. And I'm going to tell you the difference between the two. Right. So the cutting phase, this is when your main intention is to lose body fat and retain any type of muscle. Okay. That you already have. Okay. What I found is like a lot of guys with belly fat, like they usually have a lot of muscle on them already. They just have to get rid of the fat on their body so that muscle can show. Okay. That's what I've usually found. So if you have, stomach fat, or you have a lot of fat on you, more than likely you have a lot of muscle under that fat, right? You just can't see it because it's covered in all that fat. So we want to get rid of it, right? Now, you can usually continue your cutting process until you get your desired body fat percentage. Usually during a successful cut, you should be around 8 to 12% body fat. So you guys need to be around 8 to 12% body fat before you cut. Before you go back to bulking. A lot of you guys, you will lose like 20 pounds or so, 20 pounds. And then you'll be like, oh, well, it's time for me to bulk up and build some more muscle. I'm getting a little thin. No, you're supposed to go down. You're supposed to cut until you get to 8 to 12% body fat, see your abs clearly, and then you bulk back up with abs. Because if you bulk back up too fast, what ends up happening is you'll just go back to where you once were. So that means all that hard work that you just did trying to lose that fat would have been for nothing because you just gained all the weight back. And that's what you guys do. Okay? Bulking process. Okay? Now this is how the bulking process goes. This is when you intentionally, right, eat more high protein foods to feed your muscles so that they can get bigger, right? Usually when you're trying to bulk, you want to get up to at least 15 to 20% body fat during this time. That's a good rule of thumb. You don't really, when you're bulking, you don't want to go over 20% body fat. No more than 22%. No more than 22%. No more. No more. After that, it's time for you to cut. Okay, it's time for you to cut because that's too much. Okay, so that's a good rule of thumb. When you're in the cutting process, you want to cut until you get down to at least between the 8 to 12% body fat. If you have no desire to get to 8% body fat, you don't have to, but you should be looking to get down to that 12% range for sure at 10 to 12%. I think if you're in the bulking process, you want to make sure that you get up to at least 20%. Okay, you want to get up to at least 20%. Okay, so with that being said, now that you know the difference between the cut and the bulk, right? I'm going to tell you what you're more than likely doing wrong. More than likely, what you're doing wrong is you're trying to do both at the same time. If you have the stomach fat, you're more than likely trying to do it both at the same time. You're trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. How many of you guys, and just write it down in the comments. If you guys are watching this on replay, just drop a 100 sign in the comments. How many of you guys are trying to do both at the same time? You're trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Like you have the stomach fat, but you also want to build your chest a little bit. Like you want to build a nice rounder chest. You want to build your arms. You have the stomach fat, but you also want to build your arms. Like you're more than likely trying to do both at the same time, right? And so what ends up happening is when you try to do both things at the same time, you end up the same. Why do you end up the same? Or why do you end up like seeing very slow progress? Some people they see a little bit of progress, but they still are not seeing it as efficiently as they should. Right? It's because the fat loss phase and the muscle building phase are two different phases. And since they're two different phases, right, and they're two different processes, you're trying to do both processes at the same time. Right? Like, for example, building a business is a completely different process, right, than the process of working a job. And if you try to do both, right, you won't efficiently get the outcome that you want, right, if you were to focus on one. Right? Yeah, you will see, some progress. You'll be able to work your job and you'll definitely make some sales, right? But if you 100% focused on your business, right, you'd make more money, right? Can't say the same thing about if you 100% focused on. Well, I'll say this: if you 100% focused on your job and you closed and you got up in the rank rather than trying to have a business on the side, you'll make more money than your business. Then you'll make more money than your business would because you're half in your business, half out. So, and as you know, when you're in business, if you're half in your business, half out, you get half-ass results, which is in business little to nothing. Okay. So with that being said, right, since you're unsure how the process of working out goes, you believe you can absolutely build muscle and lose fat at the same time, which is not the most optimal and effective way to do things, you guys. It's not the most optimal way. Bulking and cutting are two different processes. You will get faster doing one first and then the other. Write this down in the comments. Cut and then bulk. Cut and then bulk. It is more effective for you to cut and then bulk. Now, is it possible to do both? Yes, it is more than possible to do both, but only if you follow under these categories. Now, am I saying that it's impossible to lose fat and build muscle at the same time? No, I'm not. But what I am saying is that it's not the most optimal way to do things. It's not the most optimal way. And that is an inefficient way of working out. It is. Okay. But if you fall under these categories, you can do both at the same time. Okay. You will if you can do both at the same time, if you literally started working out strength training wise less than a month ago. If you started working out a month ago, like literally, if you started working out a month ago, bro, like you can definitely lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Like literally, you can work out. Like if you just stepped in the gym for the first time, right, and started lifting weights for the first time a month ago, you can lose fat and build muscle at the same time, right? Or this applies to you too. You can lose fat and build muscle at the same time if you are on performance enhancing drugs such as steroids, testosterone, all that kind of stuff. But most likely steroids. If you're on any type of performance enhancing drugs, you guys can definitely lose fat and build muscle at the same time. But not too many of you guys are. So if those don't apply to you, get that body recomposition shit out your mind. Just get that out your mind. Okay. That applies for some people, but if you have stomach fat, right? If you're trying to lose body fat, like if you're trying to lose a belly, you should not be body recomping. You should not be body recomping. You should not. You should be cutting and then bulking. Okay. That's the most effective way, and that's the fastest way. Now you guys on Instagram and TikTok can't see this, so that's why you should follow me on Facebook. But what I actually have here is I have a chart, right? Because you guys don't know your body fat percentage. You're like, well, which one should I do for me, right? I actually have a whole chart down here, a whole chart showing body fat percentages. If you are over 20% body fat, you need to focus on burning fat. You need to focus on that's your main focus. That's your main focus. Okay. Secondary focuses are, building muscle and stuff like that. Right. If you are over 20%, if you are over 20% body fat, my fault. If you are over 20% body fat, you need to focus on burning fat. And if you are under 20% body fat, focus on building muscle. Okay. If you are under 20% body fat, then you can focus on building muscle. But if you are over 20% body fat, focus on burning the fat. Like, what are you doing? Right? What are you guys doing? Right? So the most optimal way, right, is to cut and then bulk. Okay? Cut and then bulk. Now, if you have the belly, the most optimal way to lose it quickly and to lose it more effectively so that you're not wasting hours in the gym, so that you don't go through all the discouragement, so that you can just see your progress, right? And you can get to your results a lot faster. I would highly recommend that you focus on fat loss and not weight loss, because there's a difference, right? And stop trying to build muscle and lose fat at the same time. Stop trying to do it both at the same time. Any moron can lose weight. It's not, losing weight isn't hard. Write this down in the comments. You don't have to work out to lose weight. You don't have to work out to lose weight. Write it down in the comments, right? You don't have to work out to lose weight. You don't have to work out to lose weight. All you have to do is starve yourself and walk 30 minutes a day up and down your street. You don't have to go to a gym. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. Okay? You don't have to do anything. You don't. But fat loss is completely different. It takes true skill to lose body fat, and it takes true patience to lose body fat and retain the muscle you do have. Okay? You do that by lifting weights 4 times a week. Even though you're in a fat loss phase, that does not mean that you do not lift weights. You still lift weights. Even though your main focus is to lose fat, you still lift weights. You still lift weights 4 times a week. Getting at least 10K steps a day, right? On average, 10K steps a day is by far one of the most underrated ways to lose fat, because at the end of the day, the only way to lose fat is to increase your activity level and eat and burn more calories than you consume. How can you do that if you're not active throughout the entire day? Can't. Get at least 10K steps a day, at least. I found that my clients that get 13K steps a day on average see a lot faster results than the ones that only get 10K. So I just gave you some sauce. If you say that you want to lose fat fast, right, or more effectively, get 13,000 steps a day. Okay? Eat a high protein diet. Okay? Eat a high protein diet. That means pretty much every meal that you eat has to contain protein, right? And then do cardio in the gym for at least 30 minutes a day. You should lift weights for 45 minutes, like intense. You need to be focused. You need to be knocking it out. You need to be lifting as heavy as possible, right? Okay, so this is two. Stop lifting light for reps. Lift heavy and focus on getting stronger with good form so that heavy weight you are doing becomes light and you can do that for reps. Listen to what I just said. Stop lifting light for reps. Okay? You can't you can lower the weight, but you have to still do something that pushes you, right? Stop lifting light for reps, lift heavy and focus on getting stronger with good form so that heavy weight you were doing before becomes light and you can do that for reps. That's how you get definition. You guys be like, I want to get toned, I want to get definition, I want to lose the fat. You get definition from lifting heavier with good weight. With good form, right? And you turn that heavier weight that you thought was so heavy and you start to make it lighter. So if I'm doing chest presses and I can only do chest presses with the 50-pound dumbbells for 5 reps, my goal is to turn that 50-pound dumbbell, right, from 5 reps to 12 reps with ease. Your goal is not to do lightweight, right? Your goal is not just to do lightweight for a whole lot of reps. Your goal is to turn a heavy weight and be able to do it for a lot more reps. Your goal with a heavier weight is to take a heavier weight and be able to do it for more reps, right? With good form, with good form. Okay. But the only way that you'll ever be able to have good form with a heavier weight is unless you actually pick it up and actually start doing it. Can't do a lighter weight, right, with good form and then do a heavier weight and then be like, well, my form is bad with it, I'm gonna just go down. You have to learn how to get better you have to learn how to get better form with that heavier weight too. Okay. So with that being said, focus on fat loss, not weight loss. And if you guys are watching this right now, the main takeaway that you should have gotten from today's call is this: stop trying to do both at the same time. Can you do both at the same time? Some people, yeah. Some people, no. Okay? The most effective way to lose fat and to lose that belly that you have is by taking it one step at a time. Cut and then bulk. Now, during your cutting process, that doesn't mean, oh, he said focus on fat weight loss. So all I'm going to do is just do cardio until I lose the weight. Then I'm going to start lifting weights. No. You lift weights as you come down. That's why, because if you don't, you'll look sick. All right. You'll be like, well, I'm getting super small now. Oh my God. That's because you didn't lift any weights. Now, if you would have done it correctly, it wouldn't have happened like that. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to end the live here on Facebook. I will be back tomorrow for episode 3. Give me some ideas or suggestions on what I should talk about in my next live, and I'll catch you guys later.